We're live. We're live. Bing, bing. Welcome to the City of Marshalltown City Hall Council Chambers, second floor. Today's date is August 27, 2018, and the time is 5:30 p.m. We start with a notice to the public that the mayor and council welcome comment from the public during the discussion of any of the agenda items. You are required to step to the microphone, identify yourself by name and address for the record, and limit remarks to 3 minutes or less so others may speak. Speak clearly and direct the comments to the mayor and city council, not to any councilor specifically. It's at the discretion of the mayor and council to respond to specific questions or comments, or to have staff respond during the meeting. Since we've been called to order, we'll go on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for those who are able. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Lamer.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Weirin.
Here.
Cahill.
Here.
Gowdy.
Here.
Hoop.
Here.
Isom.
Here.
Very good. Full house. We are on to the mayor, council, and administrator comments, starting with an award for years of service. Chief Tupper.
Good evening, Mike Tupper, Marshalltown Police Department. It's my honor and privilege to have Stephen Sheets here tonight. Officer Sheets is celebrating 5 years of service with the city of Marshalltown. He currently works on our overnight patrol unit and is also a member of our department tactical team. Stephen and I were chatting a little bit, waiting for the meeting, and he mentioned one of our supervisors said, 5 years seems like longer than that. We can take that as a positive thing because Stephen's performance as a professional and his maturity as a police officer far exceed 5 years of experience. He operates like he's a 20-year veteran. He's one of the best police officers that we have, does an outstanding job. I've been really impressed with Stephen's initiative, his hard work. He's a cool cucumber. Anybody watch the movie Cool Hand Luke? I'm kind of old, aging myself. Yep. But he reminds me of Luke. He's just cool, even-tempered, and he works really well with the public, regardless of circumstance and situation. So we're very lucky to have Stephen on our police department. He's a rising star in the police department, and I want to congratulate you, Stephen, on 5 years of service.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations.
Very good. Do any of the council members or the administrator have any comments?
I do, Your Honor. So I had a conversation with a member of the public last week about the efforts of individuals through this Facebook group that I've been a part of since pretty much I've at least been a part of the group, which doesn't say anything about my individual efforts, but there's a group on Facebook called Marshalltown Tornado Relief Page. It started as a different name, with a different name, but as the relief efforts became less urgent, now it's called Tornado Relief Page. There are almost 5,000 members, and the brains behind it have worked tirelessly to connect people from all over the place. They're currently doing a blanket drive for those who aren't able to do much physical labor. So there are a lot of people who are just not able to do the heavy lifting and wanted to help in some way. So there's a blanket drive going on until, it says Monday, October 1st. So I wanted to let the public know that. I also think this is a big part of why we are considered to be so far ahead in our recovery efforts here in Marshalltown. And I know there's a ton of work left to be done. There is a ton of work still going on through this group. Individuals connecting with other individuals. So I just think it says a lot about our community, and I want to give a personal thank you to the people who keep this page going and who have helped others through this way to connect. So they're all volunteers, and it's been really a wonderful thing for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I do. I didn't get to you early enough, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to pull number 3 off of the consent agenda, just because I need to know the process. And it isn't that I'm opposed to that, but that's the only item that has the process in it. So I would just like to pull it so that we can talk about the process, if we could, please.
We can do that. Anyone else? I'd like to say it's sure comfortable to be back here. I went to the library today to get some training, and they admitted that they miss all the city folks that have been camped out there for the last several weeks. So it was nice of them to accommodate everybody, and we apparently made good people to be at the library. Well, let's go on to item F, the consent agenda then. Is there a motion to approve it as edited without item number 3 in it?
I move for approval. Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lamer.
Yes.
Very good. Carried. Madam Secretary, would you read those items?
Approve minutes of August 13th. Approve the bill list in the amount of $1,404,074.64. Resolution approving contracts signed by the mayor pursuant to the declaration of state of public emergency beginning July 19. Resolution modifying the budget for the police and fire building project to include sidewalks and landscaping. Resolution approving changes to the fiscal year 2019 capital improvement plan to allow for vehicle purchases. Approve alcohol license renewals, Old Timers Tavern, Highview Drugstore, Fiddle and Whistle Pub, Quick Star 394, Zamora Fresh Market, and Aldi.
Thank you. On to item G then, motions. The first one is for the Oktoberfest liquor license at the fairgrounds.
Consider item number 3 before we can move on.
Oh, okay. Let's back up to item number 3 that was skipped, and that is the civil service new hire list parking enforcement.
I would move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I would. The process of putting together a new hire list for any job in the city is handled by the Civil Service Commission. Is that correct?
There are certain positions which are deemed to be civil service positions of the city. Generally, management positions are not. However, in the police and fire department, there's exceptions to that as their civil service departments.
Okay. Who picks the tests and where do the tests come from?
The department head usually makes a recommendation to the Civil Service Commission, and the Civil Service Commission then approves the process to be used.
You lost me. So the tests come from the departments?
Yeah, the department, it depends on the type of position. I think specifically with this position, Chief Tupper can tell you exactly what was done here for this one, as it was the police department that set up the process and made the recommendation to the Civil Service Commission as to the process used on this position.
Do we use an outside firm to provide the questions, or do we do that?
I was going to say I defer to Chief Tupper to tell you exactly what happened on this one, as I don't have the specifics.
As a general rule for everybody.
It's going to vary by position, by department, and so it's not a one rule fits everything.
For this particular process, it was a fairly simple process. It's not a complex position. So Captain Brian Batterson reviewed the job description, and they ended up coming up with a basic aptitude test that they thought was relevant to the type of work that's being performed. And then there was an interview panel made up of department staff and I think our HR director.
So may I have a little latitude here, Mr. Mayor?
You may.
You just appointed a sergeant. Would that process be different than this process?
Yeah, all of the processes that we use for various positions can be a little bit different.
Okay?
We just went through a process to find a detective. That's not a civil service process, so
Okay.
that process would look a little bit different from a civil service process.
Okay. But normally, you as the department head gets to review the tests that are being used and help put the questions together so that it matches the job description?
Yeah,
Okay.
the department director is allowed to make recommendations about what the process should look like.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's what I needed. Thank you, sir.
Any other
Thank you.
questions?
Thank you.
Public comment? Roll call?
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Goudy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lamer,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Okay. Carried. On to motions G1, Oktoberfest liquor license at Fairgrounds.
Good evening. I'm Marilee Weatherman. I'm president of Oktoberfest this year.
Dwayne Dixon, Vice President.
If you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer them.
I have
Excellent.
my standard question that I ask each time one of these go out, that this Oktoberfest liquor license, will you have a fenced area, or will you just allow people to walk all over the fairgrounds, all over the east side of town? What would be the rule here?
We are going to be at the fairgrounds this year because of the devastation downtown. The fairgrounds is completely fenced, but we will have, so the fences on the west side will be our barricade. There will be, the carnival will be on the west side of the fence, and there will be no alcohol on that side. And then nothing beyond the buildings and/or barns at the fairgrounds, if you're familiar with that area.
Actually, if you can bring up like a Google map of the fairgrounds.
I can't bring anything up from here, so, because you have to type in stuff and
Oh.
everything.
So I can go here?
If you certainly want to, I don't have the ability to do that.
Can you tell us where the parade will go?
Actually, the parade will be on Olive Street this year. It's going to start at 7th Avenue at the First Baptist Church, except for the high school bands. And the bands will be fed in from the high school, but they'll, come down Olive. And then it will go to 17th Avenue, just in front of Packaging Corporation, so that people can get off their floats and load their buses and all of those things.
Thank you.
So there'll be lots of room at the fairgrounds. Bring your lawn chairs. And we are so thankful that the First Baptist Church is allowing us to use their parking lot. And then 7th Avenue will have closed to feed the floats through.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Can you talk about a little bit of the, like the dates and the hours of the activities at the fairgrounds, especially where the liquor license will be?
Alcohol sales will be Friday night from 5 to 10 p.m. and then again on Saturday from 1 until 11. Thursday night's all about kids, no alcohol sales at that point. Starts at 5 p.m., same as we did downtown. Big wheel races, hoop shoot. There won't be, the kids' fun run has moved to Saturday along with the adult fun run, and it's all going to be combined. Well, there'll be a quarter-mile run, a half-mile run, and a full-mile run for kids and/or adults, and we'll include color. So like last year, we tossed color all over people, and they just seemed to love it. That's what we're going to do again this year inside the fairgrounds.
Any other questions or suggestions, comments? Public comment? Roll call.
First, can you describe what we're looking at and where it will be?
Fairgrounds, right here. Basically, this is South 12th Avenue and Olive Street. The fairgrounds that we're looking at will basically include this portion of it within or surrounding the buildings. We're going to use the west side fence for the barricade, and then put the carnival over here in the north corner by the, what's considered the pits parking area. So we'll have the physical fence as our barricade between the carnival and the rest of the site.
And then the back part with the buildings will have barricades, and we have 3-foot signs on canvas this year that will say no alcohol beyond this point.
Thank you.
And where will parking be? Is that lower?
Parking will be
Below the
a combination
carnival?
of the southern end of the main park, or of that southern field, and then to the east side of the fairgrounds itself.
There's more over there, okay.
Will there be races that Friday evening?
No, there's no races scheduled for that evening or weekend.
Thanks for volunteering. I would entertain a motion to approve it.
So move.
Second. Oh,
Tie goes to Martin. Let's call the roll.
Cahill,
yes.
Goudy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lamer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
Very good. Carried unanimously on to reports.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering. It's a great event. Brings people into town. Time for reports. And the first one is the Convention and Visitors Bureau with Director Val Ruff.
Good evening, Val Ruff, Marshalltown Convention and Visitors Bureau. Giving an update. We're a few weeks behind because I was supposed to do this a while back, but due to our certain circumstances that we have now. So I just want to say that today, as I stand before the City Council, I know that we're all kind of in a different frame of mind, and our landscape has forever been changed, and our goals feel more personal and more community-centric. So despite the July 19th tornado and the current situation with the hotels overflowing and people looking for extended stay because our community is full of workers, construction workers, and people they're going to be here for quite some time. So the hotel situation looks a little bit different as it would have been had I done this a few weeks ago. So I'm not going to get into the doom and gloom, but I do want to let you know that our fiscal year ended in June, and we were about $1,000 less than fiscal year 13-14. So our income, our revenue was $276,581. So it's pretty, I kind of, when I talk about it in conversation, we kind of say pre-Alliant. So we give Alliant a lot of it, recognition for the great boost in our economy. So I just want to say that, and optimistically, the CVB board passed a new fiscal budget for this next fiscal year of $300,000. And Bowman and Miller just completed our annual report, our annual audit, and we did get a copy of that to the city, so that's available if anybody would like to see it, and I could email it as well if you'd like to take a look at it. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of some recap of some numbers that I think might be of interest to you. So in fiscal year 17-18, we these are all things that we're aware of, so I'm just going to preface it with that. So we're aware of 32 meetings and conventions that amounted to about 2,600 people. We had 56 sporting events and tournaments that resulted in over 20,000 attendees. So just kind of to give you the travel and tourism economic impact figures, if we were just to take that 23,000 attendees, guests, folks, visitors to the community, and we were to use the $142.17 if you stay overnight, that would amount to about $1.7 million just in about 20,000 visitors to our community. So that's just kind of a quick overview, but that does just kind of show the importance of tourism and that we are definitely an economic driver. So along with those numbers, Shauna was able to package up with about 1,500 welcome bags to our visitors. Marshalltown and the Marshalltown area hosted 16 annual events, and that resulted in about 50,000 visitors. And so like the Mid-Iowa Antique Power Show is one that I always like to highlight because that's a 3-day event that takes place out at the Sheriff's Complex. And that's a kind of a hands-on workshop. It brings in about 3,000 participants, but one of the things I just wanted to share that's kind of fun when you're working with people that put these 3-day events together, they're very passionate about the work that they do. So a gentleman went out into where the cars are parked and took pictures of license plates of where some of these folks were from. So I just wanted to share this with you. Some are from Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Dakota, California, Wisconsin, Texas, Oklahoma, and there's even someone from Alaska down here in the middle of August, or the 1st of August. So just wanted to share that with you. And then also, we're very supportive of like Oktoberfest. We want to thank them for taking the initiative to move that event. I know that some of us really love it in the downtown, but rather than have it canceled, I'd rather have it at least. And so I just want to say we're thankful that they were able to do that, and we help promote that as well. In addition, we have 14 grants in that fiscal year that allowed us to support groups to meet in the middle. That's kind of our logo or tagline, encouraging folks to meet in the middle. So we were able to help them choose Marshalltown. And then I want to jump into a little bit of our marketing. We have about a $40,000 marketing budget, and we use that to invite and promote Marshalltown as a destination. That's at a state, a regional, and a local level. One of the things that I have a radio show that I do on KFJB on Thursday mornings, and it's called Experience Marshalltown. And I like to host events that are coming up. I think we've had Mary Lee was on there with me, and we talk about Oktoberfest, and then anything that's coming up, attractions, points of interest, different things like that. So it's kind of a fun radio spot, and a lot of people get a kick out of it, I guess. I hear that anyway. Also, I want to encourage folks to invite, if you're in a social organization or you belong to a group, I would just say that our Marshalltonians, let's really think about how we can bring meetings and conventions here to the community as a whole, because that's what's going to help us bounce back from our recovery efforts, continuing to pump money into our economy. So I would just encourage you to do that. That kind of encourages the Chamber of Commerce think local. Invite people to think about using local, stay local, shop local, and not only that, but to attend local events. We have a lot of social offerings, so working with Vision Marshalltown on that initiative to really get the word out. So we just want to continue to push that forward. Something new in our arsenal is we have constant contact. I believe that all of you as city council members are on that. It's just kind of an update that says from the Convention and Visitors Bureau who's coming to town, the numbers of people that are coming to town. That's very helpful to the restaurants and the attractions so that they can staff accordingly if we got a big group coming in town. It also gives us an opportunity, which I know Joel likes, if we can put things on the marquee that welcome these groups to our community, because it's kind of a good feel-good for them. So that's something that we have started doing recently. A couple things I just want to mention about some of our strategic initiatives for the Convention and Visitors Bureau is to continue to build those relationships and partnerships in the community. One of them we did this last year with the Central Iowa Fair and Kicks 101. What we did is we partnered to bring in a popular country artist named Jason Pritchett. And it resulted in about 400 people attending that concert at the Central Iowa Fair. So even though we're not the Jones County Fair, but we're kind of working towards kind of that goal is to, bring in those popular music entertainment venues to help bring people to promote that. The other thing that we're really excited, and we're getting ready to kick this off here real soon, is a restaurant week. We're in conjunction with the Central Business District, working with Jenny, and also working with the Chamber of Commerce, Lynn, and then the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Then we're also working with Main Street Iowa, the Restaurant Association, and Travel Iowa to promote Restaurant Week here in Marshalltown in the downtown and also in the entire community. So we'll be really pushing out, trying to get people to participate in that so folks will go out and eat out and dine local. Something else that we just recently did with the Historical Society of Marshall County is there was a Lincoln Highway motor tour group. There was about 28 of them and came in to the Maury Irvine Mansion, and they came along the highway or the Lincoln Highway route, and they spent some time at the mansion, and we were trying to decide what we should serve them for lunch, and so I called Sandy Short and I said, hey, would you work with us on providing them an iconic Maid-Rite? And she said, absolutely. So we provided a Maid-Rites and a couple sides, and they had a great time here. The other thing is a partnership that started when Ann Selnos was here, and we do the monarchs and milkweed for the Marshalltown area. It's a really fun partnership with Park and Rec, Marshall County Conservation, and the CVB, and we promote educational awareness and programming on pollinators and monarchs and how you can plant a garden and all that good stuff, because I know we all want to put butterfly bush out in our yard. So that takes place September 15th. And the other thing we're working with, just got asked here by Steve Muntz, MIC TV and MCC, is to start capturing stories for a documentary because everybody has their own tornado story. And I'm sure if we were to sit around here and it wasn't so, you start getting in meetings and everybody has a story. So they think it's important that we start capturing some of those stories for a documentary, so I'll be working with Steve Muntz on that. The other thing, just really quick, I just want to mention that I've been working with the Wayfinding Steering Committee, serving on that, and with Bolton and Mink, and something that's kind of come out of that I've been working with them on personally from the Convention and Visitors Bureau standpoint is to work on a new tear-off map for visitors. And so it's kind of exciting because it will have the same kind of look and feel as all the other wayfinding that the city is working on, and being color-coded and things like that. And so I'm looking forward to getting a new comprehensive visitors map for our visitors that come to town. Even though I know we all have a phone, every once in a while it's nice to have a piece of paper and someone can draw on it for you. So in wrapping up, I just want to share one opportunity that I'm pretty proud to share that I was got to be a part of in this whole recovery effort and the disaster is that there's a veteran group called Team Rubicon, and while they were here, I was asked if I could help coordinate their morning meals because most of their other meals were coordinated, and I said we'd be glad to do that. So I kind of got to know some of those folks, and as I was sitting there one day in the office, I said to myself, we are the home of the Iowa Veterans Home. We've got to figure out how to get this Team Rubicon that had been here volunteering and helping with the disaster recovery. How can we get them out to the Iowa Veterans Home to have dinner with the veterans? And it took, about 4 or 5 days, but we figured it out. I had reached out to a couple individuals in the community that are good friends, and we were able to pool our money together and provide them. I think there was 32 of them, maybe. And so they got to go out to the Veterans Home and have a meal, and it was on Friday, July 27th, and Dex Walker was able to help me coordinate that, and he just wanted me to share the story is that when the Team Rubicon came in there, they're all dressed clean, ready to go have dinner, and they get in line in the cafeteria, and all the Iowa veterans stepped back from the dining line where they were in line to get their food and let them all go through before. So I thought that was very cool. We personally, as a family, were able to sneak out there and meet some of them personally, and so that was a pretty priceless experience for me. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer anything.
No questions? Okay.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Very good report. That Team Rubicon was really phenomenal. Who knew? Had never heard of them. There are 1.2 million of the people that are veterans who do this, and they go to all sorts of disasters all over the country. Very helpful. Thank you. Okay, let's go to our other report tonight with the Marshalltown Waterworks.
I don't know whose glasses these are. I'm Ken Vinson, the chairman of the Waterworks Board of Trustees. When I retired about 1.5 years ago, I never thought I'd be coming back here to address the council, but circumstances have kind of changed a little bit, so I'm here to give you a report. 2 parts to it. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the storm damage that we experienced. We're very, very fortunate that we had very, very little compared to what other people had in town. It's just horrible what happened to a lot of other people and other businesses and so forth. But we had, we say no major damage in any of our facilities. The water treatment plant and the well field, there were no damage reports out there. We did have some sustained damage at the office building, but it was very minor. Lost an air conditioner on the roof, had some roof damage, some windows, things like that. but that's all replaced. We also had a small building up there that we had storage of material and some equipment, and it was destroyed, so that will be replaced. But we were very fortunate that we didn't have anything other than that. We were out of power, utility power, for about 3 days, but we did bring in a small generator and got some of the essential services back that we needed. And we did transfer one of our employees down to the plant, which had phone service. We didn't have phone service, so we were able to transfer the employee down there, and she answered the phone and got the service orders out for the people that needed service and assistance. One of the things that we're kind of proud of is we had installed a brand-new large electric generator last year as a part of our rehab program. We rehabbed both of the clarifiers, updated the equipment in there. We installed a new 2 million gallon storage tank and upgraded our facilities about a 500,000 gallon storage and put the generator in. Without the generator, we possibly could have lost water service. When we lost utility power, we only lost it for about a day, a little over a day. And maybe Leon could tell better what would have happened, but I don't know if we would have lost water in a day, but we certainly would have lost a lot of pressure, and we probably would have had some rationing going on too. So we're very fortunate that we had that in place. The other thing is we had no damage. Well, I should take that back. We had one spot on 15th Street and Summit where a tree had grown into a water main, and when it was uprooted by the tornado, it damaged the water main, and that was the only sustained of the mains that we can attribute to the tornado. No other damage was experienced. I have to say that our disaster recovery plan went fairly well. We're making some enhancements on that, especially if we lose power and phone service at the office. We'll make some changes there and try to make that service better. One of the things that kind of bugged me was that, and I've said this, it's been in the paper before, but contrary to social media rumors, we never lost water service. The quality was never compromised, but there was that rumor floating around that you got to boil your water, and that's just damaging to the public's confidence. And it just stuck with me that somebody had to put that out there, unverified, that they did that, but we never had anything like that take place. I'll get to the CEO, general manager search. Our search was kind of slowed by the tornado by a couple of weeks. We had intended to have a lot of things in place, especially the interviews and so forth, but we have placed the job opening and the job description on the websites of 3 different places. Our own website, the website of the Iowa Association of Municipal Utilities, and then the website of the Iowa section of the American Water Works Association. And I'm proud to say that Leon has been most helpful in providing some of the information on where we should be looking for applicants, where we should be looking for information about how to conduct an interview. It's been many, many years since I've conducted an interview to hire anybody, but hopefully we're going to lean on Leon with his experience a little bit more in the future here. The 3 directors that we have are doing an excellent job. We have a director of water production. He's fairly new. He's an older gentleman. We have a director of distribution. He's a younger fellow, and he's fairly new. They were hired about the same time, so they've been there about a year. However, Steve Sincox had done such a great job of keeping these guys informed, up to date on all the projects, all the different things that he had going on in management and administering the water department, that it's made their job much easier. We are not, as trustees, managing this on a day-to-day basis. The employees are doing it. And that includes the office staff, the crews that work on the distribution system, the plant operators, and then, of course, the three directors. So we're very fortunate that we have those 3. And the third one I should mention, Pat Willey. She's been there. She's the finance director. She's been there for many years. She knows her stuff. So a lot of the things that Steve was doing have fallen to those people, and then some to the trustees. Like I'm here tonight, which I shouldn't be. Steve should be here, but unfortunately he's not here. I guess that's about it. I will say that Steve was an exceptional individual. He was
a great administrator, a great manager for us and the city. He was starting to develop into a leader, leadership roles in the community. And with all that in mind, I now understand that he was probably even a better father and a family man. So it's a great loss, but we are managing, and we hope we can find another person that would fill those great big shoes. So, any questions for me? Okay.
Thanks. Always fun to have you back, Ken.
Well, maybe not for long. Get somebody hired.
Let's go on to item I, resolutions. And would you read the first one, Madam Secretary?
Resolution authorizing the purchase of vehicles for multiple city departments.
I move for approval, Your Honor.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes. I asked last meeting, if we approved a whole list of 12 or 14 vehicles to be sold, but we didn't buy that many new ones. So, and you said that you were going to provide us with a list of what those vehicles were and where they were at, but we didn't get that either.
Yes, I did provide that to you, I believe, the day after in an update that I sent to all of you. And
Really?
so, yes. So part of the reason this isn't all the vehicles is because there were 3 in Michelle's department that were ordered right away, 1 fire department vehicle that was ordered at the last meeting, and the police department is going to be ordering some additional vehicles as we go here, replacing those. So there was a bid that was set out for engineering, the remaining housing, and then Parks and Rec, and that's what's here on the agenda tonight. So we've been moving as quickly as we could with what we could in terms of replacement.
Any other questions or suggestions? Any public comment? Roll call, please.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lamer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Gowdy.
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. Would you read the next resolution, please?
Resolution adopting a debris management plan.
Any motion to approve?
I move second.
Discussion? Comment? Counselors or public?
I read through that thing, and what a waste of
This is a
It'll-
requirement for us to have.
It'll put you to sleep.
Yeah, but I will say, as we were going through the template and putting this together, I would say that I was surprised at how much we did correctly in the weeks following the tornado without having an approved plan. And so we sort of followed a plan that we didn't already have.
I understand, Jessica, that this plan is basically really filled in and needed for any FEMA consideration. Is that correct?
That was what we were told, that on the public assistance side, if we were to be declared get a federal declaration there, that we would need to have an approved debris management plan.
And I also note that it's quite detailed to the nth degree.
It is. It took the efforts of Justin Nickel and Deputy Chief Chris Cross in the fire department and myself to all have eyes on it to get it together to the point where it's in a final draft before you today.
By the way, every member of Congress, U.S. Congress from Iowa, has written a letter to the president asking him to speed up the process and give us the grant. So they've been very helpful to us. Any other questions or public comment? If not, let's call the roll.
Isom,
Yes.
Lamer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Very good. Carried. On to the next resolution, please.
resolution terminating the civil emergency issued on July 19.
Move to approve.
Second, Your Honor.
Discussion or questions? Comment? Roll call.
Lamer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Carried again. Next resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing the acceptance of community development block grant funds for housing rehabilitation and rental assistance.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Michelle Sponheimer, Housing Community Development Director. We have been, since the tornado, been in communication with Iowa Economic Development Authority about opportunities for funding that can assist with some of our housing needs. So we are looking to request some funding that from them to help with some rehabilitation of homes and repair, as well as possibly some rental or deposit type of assistance. And so we're not certain exactly how much or what that might look like, but we're in those conversations with them and hope to formalize some request and acceptance of funds with them soon. So hopefully we'll have more information on that, and we really appreciate the state coming forward to try to find ways within their resources under the Community Development Block Grant to do that. We will be looking to partner with the Region 6 Planning Commission, the Local Housing Trust Fund, to do some of that administration.
Thank you. Any questions or?
Yes. So there isn't a dollar amount here. We're applying for a grant? Is that right? So why are we accepting the grant if we haven't applied for it yet?
There's not a traditional grant application form that we see with most of their programming. It falls under kind of their urgent need. And so the process is slightly different in that acceptance. So we need to submit a formal letter to them to move that forward and allow for that acceptance. And so it's not its normal process where an application is announced and you apply and submit and then you're awarded. The anticipation is that they do have funding available and that we will be seeing an acceptance that comes forward.
So we're sending a letter to accept the money that we haven't applied for yet.
We're basically, this is to.
It's a combination.
Yeah, so it's basically, this is us applying for funds and an amount to be determined. We didn't want to put in a dollar amount and then limit ourselves by what that dollar amount was if there were to be further resources that would be available. And so this is basically authorizing that we can accept a community development block grant for housing rehab and rental assistance when it's applied for. All we have to do is submit the application. This comes under their disaster housing pot, which is not a competitive pot of money.
Right. So
Okay.
it is a little bit different than our normal way of doing things, but it was approached to the city that this is something that they felt was going to be available to us, and we certainly want to take advantage of that for our residents.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment.
Anna Wolvers, 213 Thomas Drive. Just a question, would that also cover like hotel stays in the winter as their houses are being rebuilt?
And for the TV viewers, the answer is we don't know yet. Okay, if there's no more public comment, let's call the roll on this one.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Gowdy?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Isom?
Yes.
Lamer?
Yes.
Carried. Very good, thank you. On to resolution number 5.
Resolution amending the membership of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board and abolishing the Coliseum Commission.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Public comment. Call the roll.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Gowdy?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Isom?
Yes.
Lamer?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Very good, carried. On to item number 6, which is a public hearing relating to the JAG grant. So let's reflect that the public hearing is open at 6:15 p.m. Were any written comments received by the clerk?
There were no written comments received by the clerk.
Are there any public comments? Actually, we probably ought to go staff review first and then.
We changed the process, so that's correct.
Okay. Any public comments on? Okay, staff review, please.
Should have had a memo in your packet. This is an annual grant award that we receive from the federal government. This year, the total grant award is $20,765, and we split that 50-50 with Marshall County Sheriff's Office. So the city police department is proposing that we use our $10,382.50 to purchase some new technology in the police department. It's basically it's called a throwbot. It's a robot that you can throw into a building, and it has cameras on all sides, and we can move it around and control it and capture pictures and video and have real-time intelligence of what might be going on in that situation without having to insert police officers and jeopardize safety. So it's a useful piece of equipment that we wouldn't normally be able to purchase under general fund expenditures, and staff recommends that we use our portion of the grant money to purchase this new equipment.
I'd like to borrow it for one of the dogs in our neighborhood.
There was a question from the audience. Ann, did you have your hand up?
Well, I was just going to do public comment whenever you've done in
Yeah.
general. But thank you for noticing.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you to that now? Okay. Again, Anna Wolvers, 213 Thomas Drive, Marshalltown. I want to do a huge thank you shout out to those that put together the benefit this past weekend. We had a great turnout and people showed up. I did watch the August 13th notes, and I know there was a limited discussion on maybe a dollar amount for future artwork at the police and fire department. And I know I've heard some rumblings in the community, especially with the state of people living in motels or house damage or homeless, is that the best use of our tax dollars. And I've also put out a picture. I'm the proud owner of this right now, and I think it would be awesome to put practical artwork like this that united us and is keeping us strong through this and the historic event to eventually go somewhere like the police department that would not cost $55,000 and would keep us strong. So if we wanted to reuse that graffiti wall for others, then we would still have this in the community. So just, I guess, asking you to dig deep when you consider that conversation in the future. That's a lot of money. Average hotel, about $65 a night, would cover 846 hotel nights for that same $55,000. And you can also, promote local artists and keep our strong unity together. So that's something I would ask you to consider when that discussion comes up again, especially post-tornado. I know it may not have been as big of a deal pre-tornado, but something to consider for our people that are hurting.
Thank you. Any other public comment about the JAG grant itself? Let's call the question. Call the roll. Oh, that's right. We have to, first I'm so asked for council comments. And if there aren't any of those, then I declare the public hearing is closed at 6:19 p.m. Oh, yeah. And we need a motion to...
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Call the roll on that one, please.
Cahill,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lamer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
Very good. Carried. On to item J, ordinances. Would you read the first one, please?
Ordinance to amend the number of handicap parking spaces. This is adding a handicap parking space in front of the House of Compassion, 210 West Church Street. First reading.
I move for approval, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Any discussion? It was my pleasure to meet March Runner, who is now the director at the House of Compassion. She's an attorney authorized to practice up in Alaska and has offered her services to help us with the FEMA things because she's had a lot of experience with it. I'm sure if anybody has any questions about it, we could ask her to the microphone, but if we're ready to vote and there's no public comment about it, let's go on
Your
to...
Honor. Oh, just quickly, I'd like to also offer to amend and waive the second and third readings.
Is there a second to that amendment?
Second.
Let's vote on the amendment first.
Can we,
Gowdy?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Lamer?
yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Very good. The second and third hearings are waived, and let's vote now on, have a roll call on the ordinance itself.
Gowdy?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Isom?
Yes.
Lamer?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Carried. Very good. Thank you, March, for the work you do there. Would you read the second ordinance?
Ordinance amending Chapter 7 Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 3 Dangerous Buildings of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Marshalltown.
Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'll just say that we're not recommending any waiving of any readings on this one. This is to add in a few definitions to what is a dangerous building and to greatly assist in making the process less administratively burdensome. I was going to say the actual ordinance as it is, we did put in the debris management plan because we were required to put that in there. And so if you were able to look at that and compare to this, it's a completely rewritten ordinance in what is before you tonight.
Any
Question. Is this going to speed up our process to get some of these houses tore down?
It could, yes, it definitely could. There were some requirements in the other one that were some major administrative burdens that were placed on us in terms of recording things and with the recorder's office. And so this really makes it more of a straightforward process.
You already had a list of houses that we were going to take down this year?
Yes,
That process is going ahead?
yes.
So we can expect that when?
I was going to say I'll have that provided to you in a weekly report update at this point. So I don't know that we have an actual timeline on that at this point. Nothing's been put out to bid yet.
Okay.
other questions or comments or public comment?
With the new process, what would be the expected time frame from start to finish?
I was going to say it depends on whether or not we're working with an owner who is trying to make repairs or somebody who has completely abandoned a property. And so I think it would be easy to say that we're still looking at probably at least a 3-month time frame on those that are not responsive at all. It really probably depends too on who all has to be served as part of that, because we do have to provide service of notice on this. And so it depends on how long that process would take. So it's really hard to put a time frame on things when when that is a necessary step in the process.
Okay, thank you.
Other counselors? Yes, sir.
Could we possibly get a list of all the city-owned properties and define the damage to each one of them, and define how much the insurance company is willing to pay and how much, so we know how much we're going to be saddled with?
When I have that information, I will share it with you, but I don't have that information at this point in time.
We don't have a list of all of our properties that were damaged?
Yeah, yes, we do have that, but most of them are still in the insurance review process, and so I don't have that information. But I can have Diana send to you a spreadsheet that we've used to work off of what properties with our schedule numbers and everything that we've used to work with the insurance company. And so she can send that to you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, if there aren't any other counselor questions or comments, time for public comment.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. I'm just questioning 731E. It says that a wall can lean 2 degrees, but it doesn't say how tall the wall is. So an 8-foot wall leaning 2 degrees can lean 3 3/8 inches. A 60-foot high wall can lean 2 feet out at the top, and I'm concerned about that. It's actually less stringent than the code that exists today. The code that exists today talks about the center of gravity of the wall and will actually restrict the lean to about 1/2 degree versus 2 degrees on an 8-foot wall. So I'm just pointing out that this might be something you want to look at.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Roll call, please.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lamer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Goudy.
Yes.
Very good, that carried as well. Now we're on to item K, which is public comment. I don't believe anybody came in after I read the same exact admonition I'm supposed to read now, so I'm not going to read it again.
It is different, by the
Oh, it is?
Yes, it is. Especially the last sentence.
Oh, okay. I should read the last sentence then. The mayor and councilors shall not engage in discussion or debate on items raised by members of the public, and no action may be taken on items raised in public comments in order to comply with the open meetings laws. And you still have to state your name and address and keep it to 3 minutes.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I like his comment, and I think maybe we ought to take a look at, somebody ought to review that. We have a couple structural engineers already under our employment looking at buildings. Talk to them and have them take a look at that 2-degree thing and see if we need to put some limits on heights. That does sound a little, maybe just a little far out.
I can do that, but just so you know that that was a whole revision that did go through Lynch Dallas and was legally reviewed and was made to match other codes and other language that was out there. And so it's not like something that I just pulled out of the air.
No,
There was
I know
research
that.
behind it.
But I think his comment's really good, and I think we need, since we have structural engineers working for us right now, we can just kind of sit down with them and throw that out there just for a review.
Okay. And I assume that Justin was taking note and would follow through on it.
My name is Linda Clark. I live at 306 South 2nd Avenue, and I agree, we've all worked really well working together. And I want to hope that everybody's going to continue to do this. There are a lot of people that have a lot of stress, and I read the language in the ordinance for changing, and I have some concern with that. There are persons that, will be approached that they're going to have to be making decisions on what they're doing, and I'm concerned about what the city will be doing with the city-owned buildings, just like Mr. Lamer said. When it's given, you have 10 days to do something. I was reading all the language that's in that ordinance that you're changing and making it the public official to make the determination whether something is going to pass or not pass. I have concern with that. And I think people have had an awful lot of stress in a lot of area that sometimes I think we might be working a little too fast on things, and maybe some of these things should be slowed down a little bit. It's the only thing I'd like to add.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening, Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive. This past weekend, it was mentioned that we had the Marshalltown Strong Family Benefit to raise funds, and Chief Tepper participated in that, and I think we all had a lot of fun doing that. The dollars raised are being given to Micah with a request of 100% of the funds going to the families. I echo Councilman Weirin's comments. It's been phenomenal to see this community come together with a lot of volunteer activity. And those guys need a huge thank you. The volunteers that put this together, they gave generously of their time and their efforts just to help those that are suffering. They've worked side by side with the Dream Team. I'm going to make you stand up. Stand up. Jake's part of our Dream Team. The Dream Team has literally put, I don't know how many thousands of hours you guys have worked.
I personally, or not personally, but my team, the people that are under me, I am the leader of the squad. I do have 937 hours clocked between me and my guys. We've also spent almost near $10,000 in money. The majority of that coming from myself, but we have had 2 or 3 other members that have generously given to fill gas tanks, we've bought new chainsaws. I've even went as far as renting equipment that I don't own. So I thank you for thanking us on that.
Yeah.
And for
These
the
guys need to
TV
thank you.
audience, for the TV audience, that was 937 hours by Jake's team.
It is phenomenal on what they've done. Not only have these guys done that, but they've also worked side by side with this weekend's event, putting together lots of creative ideas on just helping people that are in Ward 1 and Ward 2, which is where the major impact is, as you guys know. I'm really proud to say I'm making some new friendships, so I apologize. I've gone over 3 minutes here a little bit, okay? I know the documents here are a little bit on the dangerous building ordinances. I realize that we're working on the FEMA declaration. I'm part of that long-term recovery team that's been put together to address those issues. My question, I guess, would be to housing, okay? We've got folks out there that are what I call couch surfing right now, or they're in hotels that are, overbooked, et cetera. We are 8 weeks out from winter. As a city, as a human being, what are we going to do to help our friends and neighbors? That's a question that I need to pose. I've seen snow on Halloween. How many of you guys seen ice storms? Okay. I don't want my friends and neighbors in Ward 1 and Ward 2 having to continue to couch surf or, oh my gosh, where am I going to stay? There have been reports of people in tents sleeping in their yards. Jake would better be able to address that and know those stories. I don't know all the stories, but he does.
Jacob Raleigh, 910 East South Street. Yeah, I can speak on just a couple. There's one that really sticks out in my head big time. Their address was 309 Bromley Street. Name is Anthony Banderas. They were completely displaced from their home. Their roof was removed. We took our squad in the first day to try to help them move their belongings, to try to at least get some of that stuff put in a storage unit so that they could save some of their belongings. The first day, we got all the clothing, stuff like that out. They called us about 3 days later and said, hey, we've got some rain coming, we're worried about our furniture, etc. We got that out. They were in a hotel for I think 27 days, and then the insurance company finally cut that off. I offered my home for them for a short period of time. They actually, in the process of finding that, did go ahead and find an apartment to rent. And so they have been replaced now, but they're just one of hundreds of stories, and especially down in the lower income area. I mean, we really do have to realize that, some of these people that were on this other side of basically I want to say west side of 3rd Avenue, they had good insurance. They have the extra $500 in their pocket to be able to maybe, incur some extra expenses. But we have people down there that are renters, and their landlords aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. We have people that they're just not in the position to take this kind of a hit, and I think we really do need to see how we can help those people. I understand money's tight. It's a city organization. I understand that. It goes back to what Anna talked about tonight. I think, if we do have $55,000 to spend on artwork, I feel like that's money that could be better placed somewhere else. I understand that that's already been set aside for a police station fund, and so on top of that, we can't necessarily just pull out of that. But I do think that as a city, it's kind of a slap in the face to spend that kind of money on something like that if we're not going to help the people that really, really need it right now. Like I said, we've done the majority that we can at this point, and at this point, if there's a request for help, I'm answering it. But also I do have a business to run as well, and I can't do it all. So I just ask that we do look at that area, help them as much as we possibly can. So there's many stories like that, but that's just one that really sticks out. I mean, this was a guy that had 5 kids living in one house. And at this point, we do have them replaced, but they're one of many. So.
Thanks for your input and for your volunteering.
Thank you. In finishing, one of the things I know the questions that have been coming up a lot is, why hasn't FEMA came in? Okay. Is there a checklist, so to speak, a simple one, a very simple checklist that we have to go through on this is what it takes to qualify for FEMA that can be put out on the city website, that can be put on the tornado assistance. So if there's anything that we can do, just something simplistic to say this is why we haven't qualified. The other thing, there's things that are being worked on, wanting to do blessing boxes, which are like little libraries, graffiti wall, we've talked about the blanket drive, the clothing drive, furniture drives. We're working on a book, so with Val Ruff, this would be something we could work on. Beverly Free has been out doing lots and lots of interviews, and she's going to put that into actual writing. We're not sure the name of the book, but we're thinking Winds of Change, because we're a new landscape. We all know that. And finally, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to give you a challenge. Okay, I'm not supposed to address you directly, but recently, on one of the social posts, you did encourage the citizens impacted to write President Trump to speed things along for FEMA declaration. I know that you've done that with our legislators. The challenge that I would have is, please, let's take the stories that are on the social media. Please take the dream team. Take I'm going to call it the Santa Claus pack of letters into Trump, into our president. Take the dream team with you if they'll go. You have access to a plane. You're a pilot. Would you please fly in and take those letters in, because I think it'll have a lot more impact being delivered from a mayor that loves his city and from people that love their city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing no one rising, let's dispense with the public comment section, and now we go into the closed session relating to pending litigation. And so the closed session will be pursuant to Section 21.5, subsection 1, paragraph C of the Code of Iowa, to discuss strategy with counsel in matters where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would likely prejudice or disadvantage the city in that litigation. The city has an attorney-client relationship with Attorney Roger Schell, appointed as our city attorney, and by Council Resolution 2014-047, and with Lynch Dallas PC by Council Resolution 2017-093, approved on May 8 of 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lamer?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Goudy?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Isom?
Yes.
Okay, we're in closed session as of
Can we also do the
6:38.
closed session?
We'll come out, do actions,
Oh,
and go
okay.
back in. Yeah,
All right.
since they're two different purposes.
All right, thank you.